So that's going to be for your contracts, your invoice, accepting payments. That's going to be for if, let's say, you're sending out like a brochure to people that are inquiring about your services. That's also going to be about maybe offboarding, onboarding, all of that information. I would love to know inside of the chat what exactly is it, what type of services do you all offer? If you want to let me know inside the chat. I'm looking over here, camera's here, but I'm looking over here because this is where the chat is. So just let me know what type of services that you offer. I would love to know what type of services that you do offer. That way, some of the examples that I give that I could use those examples um, with you guys. Just let me know right inside of the chat. Okay, someone has a natural holistic health. I see commercial cleaning business. I see 3 businesses, virtual assistant, marketing agency, and personal fitness. Awesome, awesome. Okay. All right. So just in case you don't know exactly who I am, my name is Kenniqua, and I'm the owner of K&Z Jones Client Services LLC. And so we specialize in Squarespace website design, where we build websites, strategic design websites for service-based business owners, as well as we also do system setups. Because what I've found is that once we design websites for our clients, a lot of our clients didn't have a way to actually go through and convert that traffic that they were getting from their website and bring in, when they brought in leads, they didn't know what to do with the leads. They didn't know how to actually maintain leads, to build relationships with clients. They didn't know how to do any of that. And so, yeah, so that's why we go through and build systems. And then we also do strategies for actually marketing your business via YouTube marketing. Um, uh, Indira, I'm butchering your name, so you can put the pronunciation inside the chat. But she says their goal is to run a virtual assistant agency that she can offer a range of tasks ranging from general admin to project management and temporary in-house freelance services. Awesome, love that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start sharing my screen. For some reason, my temporary account, my demo account, I couldn't get into it. It says my username is incorrect, so I just signed up for another account. Which actually I guess probably just makes this a little bit better, because then you can probably see exactly how your account would look, especially if you're going through and you're just now starting out. So right now I'm inside of HoneyBook. I'm gonna go back to this home screen here, and maybe let me just kind of, I got 1,000,001 tabs open here. So I don't know if you guys can see all of these 1,000,001 tabs. I'm definitely a 1,000,001 tabs type of person. I definitely work with probably about probably about 20 different tabs open at one given time, which is probably not good, especially between the 2 screens. Okay, so this is why I actually go through and like HoneyBook. Now, a lot of times, let me just tell you, before I personally start going through and using HoneyBook, I was going through and piecing a lot of different things together. Like I was using a system for invoicing. So I was using one system for invoicing, and then I was using another system for scheduling. So I was using, what was I using? I was using Acuity for scheduling. I had to send out contracts through a different system. So I was using, what was I using? I was using Adobe Sign for actually going through and scheduling. And then I was creating some brochures inside of Canva to then email to our prospects when I wanted to do that. If I had an onboarding document, again, I had to go through and send that through email, and I designed inside of Canva. And then even for offboarding and all of that, I had to use different systems and I had to piece everything together. And as you can imagine, when you're having to go through and do that, well, like some of you guys might still be doing that at this moment, but how I had to go through and do that, it took a lot of time because each piece of the process, it required me to go through and do it. Like, yes, you can have an automated email go out, of course, but some of that other part of the process, it required that I created and it required that I go through and do that. But when I actually went through and discovered HoneyBook, I found a better way that actually helped me cut back on a lot of my time. And it saved me a lot. So, like I said, this right here, I just literally just started this account just right now since I couldn't get into my demo account. So what I recommend, and like I said, the main thing that I hear from people, the average person I come across that comes to me from HoneyBook that requires or wants to streamline their business, automate their business. First of all, let's just talk about really quickly about what exactly does streamlining mean? Because sometimes people they use those terms and you might not necessarily know what that means. And in a nutshell, pretty much what that means is really just going through and taking things off of your plate. It means going through and automating where you have things done in a cohesive manner that it just makes sense and it makes it easier for you where you're not going through and you're spending days and just sending out everything manually, right? And so that's why I like HoneyBook because I feel like HoneyBook is a very inexpensive way to get a lot of things done, as well as switching over to HoneyBook actually ended up saving me money because I was able to go through and cancel out Adobe Sign. I was able to cancel Acuity. I was able to cancel things that I was piecing together that I didn't have to do that anymore. I was able to go through and do everything right inside of here. This is where HoneyBook is where we do business. This is where we live and breathe inside of HoneyBook, outside of course, doing project management. We now use Asana. We used to use Trello, but now we're using Asana. That's where we manage projects and things like that. But as far as our client management portion, this is done inside of here. So one thing that I hear about when most people have HoneyBook, the average person that comes to me that has HoneyBook, the number one thing that they're doing is number one is that they are only sending invoices from HoneyBook, and that's about it. First of all, I want to know inside the chat is how many of you do you already have a HoneyBook account? Or do you already have a HoneyBook account or you're just now just trying to explore exactly what HoneyBook is? Okay. I want to say, yes, she has a HoneyBook account. Let me know if you already have a HoneyBook account. Okay, I got it. No. Okay. Currently exploring this option. Okay, great. All right. So for most people, like I said, because I just created this account just right at this moment, this is what it's going to look like. When you come inside of HoneyBook, so I'm just going to go over a couple of things first, and then I'm going to tell you where I recommend that you start because a lot of times people get overwhelmed because it's a lot, right? They feel like when they see other people's HoneyBooks account, maybe you might have saw it on YouTube or maybe on Instagram, or people have described it to you, and you're like, I don't have all of that, and I want to have all of that. And I'm just letting you know that there's so much that you can do inside of HoneyBook that you're not going to be able to go through and do it all in one day, maybe even not in one weekend, but it's really just about just doing little bits and pieces, because if you could do little pieces that will help you to take things off of your plate, you are winning. Okay. So inside of HoneyBook, this is basically your homepage that they recently redesigned this year. Okay, so this is your homepage. When you come in here, you want to go through and go ahead and complete your brand elements. This is putting in your logo, adding your brand colors. Go ahead and do that because that's going to customize everything across the board for you, from your forms, from your contact forms to even like your brochures, your welcome letters, your onboarding, offboarding. All of this will be set for you if you go through and you complete this ahead of time. On this home screen here, this is basically, you can see everything that's going on inside of your HoneyBook account without going into the additional tabs that are up here at the top. So you can see any new leads that are coming into your business. How leads actually get into your HoneyBook account is either by submitting an inquiry via a contact form that you have, or also a lead form. And I'll show you that here in a second, but a contact form is basically a form that you can create that form and you can embed it onto your website. So when people fill out that form, they are automatically put inside of your HoneyBook account. And the beauty of that is because you can set up an automation from that actual contact form. So how that actually works, and we'll look at that in a second when we talk about when I show you where the contact forms are, but how that works is when someone visits your website and let's say they're interested in your virtual assistant business, they want to work with you. You can actually get them into your HoneyBook account, send them out an email, send them out a booking link for them to book a discovery call with you if that's your process. And you can do all of that without you even lifting a finger. All you have to do is just show up whenever your discovery call is, right? Or maybe you want to send them out a brochure to let them know about your services, give them more information, maybe share some testimonials with you, maybe with them, maybe showcase some of your work, tell them your prices, and then maybe have them book a call. Or maybe you want them to go ahead and just pay, right? Maybe they have to pay a deposit or whatever. Whatever your process is, you can do that without even lifting a finger. All of your unread messages are here. So for across the board of your unread messages through all your client accounts are going to appear here. Any tasks that you have and how much money that you've made on your bookings throughout the whole year is also going to appear in this section. You can start things from here. So you can start new projects, invoices, contracts. Everything is going to show here. Your leads will show there. Your calendar information. Let me go back to the home screen. Your calendar will also show there. So your calendar will also show here. You can go through and connect your calendar. So you can connect your calendar from, if you're a Google Calendar user, like I'm a Google Calendar user, you can connect your Google Calendar right here as well. So the appointments that you have on your Google Calendar and your HoneyBook can all show here. So you can see seamlessly in one place everything that you have going on, as well as any appointments that you have. Let's say you book appointments through your HoneyBook calendar. If you have events that you have to be at, so like I have out of office times on my Google Calendar, that way, being that the two calendars are connected, someone can't book an appointment with me from HoneyBook if it's marked off on my Google Calendar, right? So you can have all that here. Any type of activities that's going on, again, unread messages, tasks, all of that goodness is actually listed here, okay? All right, so that is actually your home screen. So what I always recommend to people to kind of really keep keep yourself from being overwhelmed when you get inside of HoneyBook is to go through and complete the settings portions first, okay? Because the settings portion is going to be what's going to help basically set the tone for what you got going on. Otherwise, you're going to have to go back and do this, okay? So if you go to the little icon at the top where you can go through and you can customize this, you want to go to your company settings, okay? Go through and complete all of this information. Put in your business type, your phone numbers. Again, you can go through and you can customize the theme of your page. You can change the fonts. If you have a special font that you already use for your brand, upload that font so everything can stay cohesive. The thing I like about HoneyBook is because you can customize this where it's cohesive to your website. So when someone goes to your website, this document, this stuff that's in here, this experience can stay on brand from website to here. And this is what we do is when we go through and we design websites for clients and they also want system setups with HoneyBook, we match that same type of branding to their HoneyBook. So the client that they have, it's a seamless experience. You can also add any type of brand elements. You can add your email signature here. All of this information you want to go through and add. Next, you want to do your preferences. And if you have any questions along the way, just let me know, okay? Next thing you want to do is your preferences. Now, the important part of this section here, a lot of times people go through and they kind of skip this section, but I'm going to tell you of having this section is going to be helpful. Having this section actually filled out is going to be helpful for you because what's going to happen is HoneyBook can pull from these sections here and it can help you organize your business even more, okay? To actually segment and stuff like that throughout your account, okay? So your lead sources. So your lead sources here is going to be where people are coming from, right? They already have pre-built things that are actually entered in here. You can delete things that you don't apply to you, and you can also add different sources. This can be tagged if you have this question on, let's say, a contact form. This can automatically be tagged on that person's profile. So then you can start to know where your people are coming from. So you can learn where you can double down your efforts. So for example, like I do a lot of things on YouTube. That's my main marketing platform. So I like to see when people are coming from YouTube, that lets me know that YouTube is working. If I get someone from Instagram, I might be like, okay, if I'm starting to get a whole bunch more people from Instagram, then that's going to make me say, maybe I need to be on Instagram just a little bit more because that's working for me. Or maybe you're doing something that you're putting a lot of effort into Instagram or something like that, but you're not seeing anybody come to you from Instagram. then maybe you don't have to go as hard in your marketing efforts there. So this can be pretty beneficial. And even on your home screen, it's going to tell you, like in your reports, I mean, it's going to tell you like where a majority of your leads, where they're coming from. So that's why that comes into play and where it's important. You also have your project fields. So your project fields, you have certain things about your projects. Now, we don't use this as much, but this allows for you to be able to customize like your projects depending on what you're doing even more. So these are things, of course, fields that you cannot remove, but you can add other fields that are applicable to your business that you want to have it notated on your client's profiles, which hopefully I'll be able to show you what a profile looks like here. And then you have your project types. Now, project types, I think project types are actually pretty important, especially if you're offering multiple services. And I would say multiple services that are different services. So what I mean by that, like, for example, we do website design, we do HoneyBook setups, and we do YouTube strategy, right? So if someone comes to me and I have a HoneyBook form and it's like, hey, what are you interested in or what are you looking for? And I have those three options on there, what I can do is I can customize their experience based off of what exactly they want, right? Because automation email and automation that I have for my HoneyBook people, they want to be the same type of automation or same message that I want to give to someone that's interested in starting YouTube, right? So I can customize this versus just sending out a general message like, hey, thanks for your interest in our services. I can talk directly to the people based off of what their services are. And this is how you can do that, is by adding in your project types. And then on your contact form, asking that question, which I'll show you. Okay, now you can go through and customize all of these notifications. This is basically self-explanatory, but go through and fill that out. You also have AI preferences. So AI preferences basically allow for you to be able to, like, so you have your priority lead notifications, enable AI composer. Now you can turn this on, turn this off. I personally don't like to use the email AI composer, but it's totally up to you if you want to. Priority lead notifications, that's basically saying, hey, this person is coming in hot. This is something that you might want to take a look at. You also have like your domain and your client portal. So the other thing I like about HoneyBook, because what we were doing before is that we had a client portal like on our website. But with HoneyBook, it's built in. They have a way of how they can go inside and they can view all of the correspondence that we've sent to them. So all of the emails that we sent to them, the files that we uploaded to them, they can also upload files back to us. So if I need to say, hey, if you can send me over that logo, they can upload that directly inside of their HoneyBook account. So what that prevents us from doing is, and prevents the client from doing, is going through and roaming around their inbox, because everybody knows everybody's inboxes are pretty crowded. They don't have to go through and search for that particular email where I sent that to them. I don't the likelihood of it getting lost is less because they can see it inside of their HoneyBook account. They can also book meetings and we can send links to them and send over booking links to them all throughout their HoneyBook account. So our communication, when we have a client that goes through and books with us, and even a client that hasn't booked, but if they're inside our HoneyBook account, this is the way that we go through and we interact with them. Another thing too is, now they don't have it on this account. Like I said, this is I know that it was a newer feature and it's on my regular account, but even tags, you're able to go through and even tag people with different things. So if it's not on this one, which is the one I just signed up right now, but it should be available to everybody's account probably here in the near future. Okay. You also have your integration. So it's going to integrate with everything, a lot of different things that you have going on. So like your Google, your QuickBooks, so that way you can stream your finances from HoneyBook when you're trying to get your invoices paid, that you can connect that, and that can also be tracked through there as well. So I'm pretty sure by now you're kind of seeing how, like, already that this could take so much off of your plate, because these integrations, these things that you're already using, they could be connected right onto your HoneyBook account. You can also connect your Zoom. So when we go through and we book a meeting with our clients and do discovery calls, that Zoom link, it's automatically created. So when someone comes to me to say, hey, I want this particular service, and they put in that inquiry form, they automatically get that booking link to book. They book. I don't have to do anything but just show up to the meeting, right? I don't have to do anything. Everything that they need to know has already been sent out to them. You can also add in other things. So some of these project management tools you can connect seamlessly here, but of course you can also use Zapier, which is basically that middleman from you're connecting thousands upon thousands of different apps, okay? And then you have other things like your teams. You can connect your team inside of here. It is dependent on what plan you actually decided to go with, of course, your banking account and all of that. That is your first task, okay? So when you get inside of HoneyBook, it's to go through and complete all of that different information there. You can actually add your picture and all of that goodness right there, okay? All right. So the next thing that you want to do, so you have that set. If I was doing and starting a HoneyBook account from scratch, the next thing you want to do is you want to go through, and I'm actually going to go through the tabs at the top, okay? Any type of forms that you already have. So you might already have contracts for your business. Those can be imported inside of HoneyBook. They have a concierge service where you can get those put inside of HoneyBook for you, and they can be formatted for HoneyBook, right? Or even if you just have them on a Google Doc, you can copy and paste that text, put in those smart fields, and you can have your contract already ready to go, right? So if you have your forms, you're already good to go on that, right? You have your project section. So the project section here is basically where this is your flow, right? So you want to have your flow in mind. If you don't have a flow in mind, this is going to be your client flow. So as you see here, like in this account here, it already has one that is pre-built for you, but you can customize this. So when you think about a flow, when someone actually comes in, so they submit an inquiry from your website, from your HoneyBook form that you have embedded on your website, they're going to automatically land here, which is this inquiry section. From here, they're going to move throughout this pipeline based off of the actions that they take or based off of you manually going through and moving them, okay? Now, you can actually go through and automate their movement through this particular pipeline, okay? You can customize this. So like right now, it has like follow-up, consult, proposal sent, contract sign. It has all of this. But if you go here, you can customize this based off of what it is that you do in your business, because maybe this isn't your process. Maybe you do other things. There are other processes. You can click on them and you can move. So I always recommend to kind of keep this inquiry one here, because that's that first step that they go to. But you can change this just by clicking on it, editing it. You can delete by clicking the trash can, or you can even also just move these stages around. If these stages work for you, you need to add another stage. You can click add another stage and you can put this stage wherever it is that you want to move it to, okay? Now there are certain sections here that are also sections that are connected to automation. Those are highlighted by these little kind of like, what is this? Like a lightning bolt, I guess you would say. Those sections right there are connected to automations. You can manage the pipeline automations here and in the automation section. So it's telling you down here exactly where this person's going to go based off of a particular action. So like, for example, it's telling you automatically, which is a section you cannot change, is this new project. New projects are automatically going to go into inquiry. But if you wanted to go to a different section, you can change it to another section that you wanted to go to, but new inquiries will automatically go there. It's not something you can take off. But these other ones you can. So like if somebody makes their first payment or first email sent, excuse me, it's going to automatically go to follow up. But maybe you wanted to go somewhere else. You can go through and you can customize your pipeline and move people, have the system automatically move them to different stages where you want. When an email is, when a payment is made, they can go to a different stage. When they sign, when they go through, do the email, do the payment, the first payment, things like that, it can move them throughout the stages. When their project is complete, it can move them to a different stage. So it's fully customizable. And again, this is keeping you from having to go through and do so many things manual. You have your flow of your business. This is the stages of the business of how your clients go through your business from inquiry to complete to deliverable, right? So from if you're a virtual assistant, it goes from inquiry to you actually delivering those services. Now, some projects, some things may not actually have like a complete to it, right? Like, so some of our projects, they don't have a complete. So we have a section here where we have monthly clients where we have people that just sit in monthly client section, right? So we have some monthly clients, but then for the most part, like our website design, our HoneyBook setups, those type of things, those do go to complete, right? Those sections do go to complete. Now, when you think about, and this is actually something outside of this, but doesn't necessarily have to deal with HoneyBook in particular, but also too, what I would recommend is when you're thinking about like your stages and your complete and your services, in order to be able to increase the longevity of your clients, especially as a service-based business, I would always recommend thinking about that next thing that you can offer to your clients. So the beauty about HoneyBook is that you can create like an offboarding form, right? So your offboarding form could be something that, of course, will tell them, hey, this is everything that I did for you. You know, fill out this questionnaire to maybe give me a review. Also, this is what we can do next. Instead of having the project just end, because you know, some projects they do end. But if you can get the client to do the next best thing with you, so whatever makes sense for you. So an example would be, let's say, for example, we do website design. The next best thing would be, hey, do we want us to set up your system for you? So when you're starting to get in your leads into your business, that you can go through and manage those leads and we can keep it all cohesive for you. Or the next step might be just based off my conversation that I've had previously with the client. The next step might actually be is, hey, let's do website maintenance for you. This is actually a monthly service. So this goes through and it expands our business relationship, right? So we've done this one-off project, but now I'm using HoneyBook to keep this client around for longer and around paying for longer, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, you have your client section here. Your client section is where you have your contacts. So you can have your contact form. So you have your contacts here. So anybody that comes into your HoneyBook account, this is where all your contacts are going to be, okay? So you have your clients. Your clients are people that have actually gone through and did services with you. And then you have your leads, or people who just submitted inquiries but may not have actually did anything. You also have your lead forms and your contact forms. So to not confuse you, a contact form. So the contact form is what most of you are probably going to end up using initially. A contact form is going to be something that is where you can embed it into your website. Okay. So a contact form, you can embed it into your website where people can submit an inquiry for you and contact you. Or you also do get a link to it as well. So if you want to link it and not embed it, you can. With a contact form, I would recommend that if you're going to do a contact form, is it's to not be the only form on your website. And what I mean by that is your contact form, you want people, your HoneyBook contact form, I recommend to have people that are there ready to take action, that want to book a discovery call with you, that wants to purchase something from you. Put those people inside of your HoneyBook account. Not everybody that just has a question. Okay. I would create a separate contact form on your website, not a HoneyBook form, on your website for people who just have questions, because you don't want your HoneyBook account to just be full of people just asking questions. So if you get a lot of questions to your website, have another form that they can fill out for questions, not your HoneyBook account, because then it's going to get really junky and really crowded. Okay. But inside your contact form, they give you a demo one that you can do. A lot of times you can create multiple forms. So you can create multiple forms for different scenarios. Like, so maybe like I've used different contact forms. Like I've done, like, let's say like a website special, right? I don't want to necessarily put that on my website. Maybe I'm just offering this to my email list. So I create a contact form for this particular special and send it out to my email list where they can inquire about this particular special, but it's not necessarily available to the public, right? So you can create different forms. The beauty of this form is it is fully customizable, just like everything else inside of HoneyBook, right? So this is a demo. This is a great place to start, but you can add the plus sign and add additional questions. So you have your question section here where you can add different types of fills, date picker. You can do single choice, two fills, short answer. You can also add in contacts, content information. So you can do like a full width image with text. You can do a lot of different things inside of here. You said, do I have a recommendation for an ultimate question form? I would recommend to use whatever form comes with your website. So for example, I have Squarespace. We use Squarespace. We design on Squarespace. Squarespace has their own contact form. That's the form that we always recommend. Use that form that is pre-built with your website. So like if you use Wix, Wix has their own form. Use that form for just general contact information, okay? All right, so you can go through and customize it. Now, what I was telling you guys before about the settings, this is where the settings come into play. If you have a question on here like this, what type of project are you looking for? If I click on this settings option, I can see that this particular question type is pulling from the project type, which comes from your settings, okay? So when we look at the drop-down menu, it already has options in here. It's got branding, consultant, design. It has all of this in here. You can make it required if you want it to be. What happens with this is it's telling me that this answer is linked to my project type, which means that if I'm going on somebody's website, let's say, Jessica's website. If I go to Jessica's website, I enter this and I say, I am interested in coaching. If I'm interested in coaching, that coaching tag is going to be on my profile inside of that person, Jessica's HoneyBook account. It's going to be tagged there. Also, too, I can also set up an automation for just coaching. So maybe I have a different type of link for booking a discovery call for coaching. Or maybe when she selected coaching, maybe it's like, okay, we offer coaching, but coaching is not free. So I'm going to automatically send you an invoice for coaching and then send you the link after you go through and book your pay for it. Then I'll send you the link for coaching call, right? I can customize this based off of what they want. Now, this may not be as deep for you. You don't have to put this up here if you don't offer various different services. Like, so if you're a virtual assistant and you offer, most of your services are like services. Like a lot of times with virtual assistants, you offer a list of services. Then this might not be something that you use. But if you offer different services that are significantly different, that the messaging could be different on it, or what they need to do to take action could be different, then you may use this particular section and customize that automation or notification to them. The same with the how did you hear with us section. Again, this is a section that is also attached to the lead source. So this will show up in that person's profile inside of HoneyBook of where they actually came from, which is also helpful. Inside of your contact forms, of course, you can go through, you can change the design of it. You can customize the design. You can customize the fonts. You can do all of that, right? What I would do, recommend a word of caution to you is that if you are embedding this form on your website, is I wouldn't do too much customization as far as adding a whole bunch of pictures and adding a whole bunch of different colors, because you're embedding it into your website. So the form is going to show on your website, and your website already has pictures. It already has colors. So you don't need this colorful form on your website. So it just really just depends on where you're putting the form on your website, but take that in consideration. You don't have to do a whole bunch to this. Now, if you're using this as a standalone form that you're only routing people to this form, then yeah, maybe you will add, go here and add some type of cover image up here. You can move that here and then select an image, which there's absolutely nothing in this live. Well, it's got the demo stuff, so I'll just put that there. Then maybe you'll do that. So when you go through and you hit publish, and then this is the embed code, but you can also link it as well. You also have the link here at the bottom left. When you go through and you view that form, you go through and view the form, then it has the picture and all of that stuff up here. But if you're embedding it, you don't need to do all of that, depending on where you're going to send it to. Okay. It doesn't have to be complicated, is the point that I'm making. Okay. Now, with your settings options, once someone else should go through and completes that form, they will automatically get this, basically this message, this thank you message from HoneyBook, right? This general thank you message. But if you want to customize that experience even more, you can go through, let me exit preview, you can go through and add a redirect link to direct them to somewhere else. So maybe there's a page on your website that you want to redirect them to. or maybe there's a link to something else that you want to redirect them to. You can definitely go through and do that inside of your settings, okay? So that's contact forms. Now lead forms, because they can sometimes be confusing of the difference between a contact form and a lead form. Now a lead form is really going to be used in cases that you want someone to take action right now. It's not any type of automation you want to necessarily set up. They're going to still get inside of your HoneyBook account. You cannot embed a lead form, okay? A lead form cannot be embedded. So lead forms are here. And if you go to a lead form, they cannot be embedded, but they're used for things to have people take action now. Okay, so they give you a lot of things to start with here. So maybe, for example, you want someone to go through and do an instant booking with you, or maybe you have a digital product because you can sell digital products inside of HoneyBook too. But you want them to take action right now. You want them to go through and give you their name, email address, book that consultation, pay, do all of that in one swoop, right? Then that's the scenario of when you would go through and do a lead form, okay? So that's the difference between a lead form and a contact form. So a lead form cannot be embedded. It is a link. You can also customize the link to a lead form. This is where, like, so if you were just to use this template here, so let's say we say edit this template, you can go through here and create a session. Now, of course, we haven't gotten to create sections yet, but you can go through here and just put in a section. You can put your duration of your meeting. You can do time zone, create section, client meeting. You can go through and do all of this. You can add additional questions. So these are the questions that's come with this. Lead form, just do test one. I'm just going to preview it just so you guys can see it, and you can always change it. So I personally, when I create a lead form, I don't do all of that from that front screen. I like to look at it and customize it from here because then it also allows me to go through and design it. But this is what it will look like. You have your questions here, and then they can either hit submit. They can submit it here. Let's exit out. Sometimes my computer runs slow when I'm doing this here. Okay. Come on. Okay, so this is where you can go through and edit. You can fully customize this the same way you customize anything else inside of HoneyBook. You have your little plus signs that allows you to be able to add blocks, and you can read through each one of those descriptions here. You can customize the colors by hitting the settings. You can do columns, opacity. You can add on images. You can do all of that inside of HoneyBook. So that is how you're able to go through and customize it, to go through and make everything on brand. So the type of pictures and colors and all of that that you have, and you can change your settings and configure everything from right here, right? You can do all of that inside of here. So you can even change, so it has this form link, but you can customize this link. So lead forms, again, are something where you want people to take quick action on right now, like i.e. book a coaching call with me. Your coaching call is not free, so you have your scheduler here, but then maybe you have to go through and you need to add on an invoice and a way for them to pay. You can go through and do that. And any type of thing that you have on your HoneyBook account, you can add all of your templates. So it's good if you can do templates in the beginning, but you can also build them as you go too, okay? And you can build this out with multiple pages. Like you see to the right, this has 2 pages on it, or 3 pages. You can build this out as many pages as you need. I don't think they even have a limit. I don't think there is a limit to how many pages that you have, because I have one that we have like a website, what is it called? Like a website writing guide that we have created inside of our HoneyBook accounts, and it's like 25 pages, right? So I don't think there's even a limit to doing that. Now, the great thing about any one of these forms here, and any type of document, I'm gonna get out of this, any type of document that you have inside of HoneyBook, when you send these to your clients, you can see inside of their profile, you can see the pages that they viewed and what they have already completed, right? So, and through those settings here, you can also be notified, like when you send a file out to someone, you can also see that or get a notification when they haven't actually opened it like within a certain time period, like 3 days or something like that. If you have any questions, please, please, please let me know. All right, so then we have templates. So inside of here, you have templates. You have your file templates, services templates, emails, and you have your template categories. So I'm just going to click on file templates really quickly here. And again, the biggest thing that you want to do when you get started, because it may sound like this is a lot, get started with setting up those settings. If you have your contracts and stuff, make sure you use the concierge service to get those actually imported for you, so you already have those contracts in place for you. If you have emails, like, so let's say somewhere you already have some template emails, put those emails inside of HoneyBook. If you come to the template section down here at this bottom part, you have your emails. This is where you can put in your email templates. This is part of streamlining your business, is having email templates. If you're sending the same message out over and over, or you're asking for the same type of things from your clients, then put it in an email. Put in an email, create a template for it. Now, what I love about HoneyBook, which they actually just created this year, is they have smart fields. So inside of email templates, you can now go through and customize the email template in a way that it has that person's name and project details, which I'll show you in a second, that it looks like that you sent it to them, that you actually wrote it and sent it to them. It has their name on it. It has the information about their project, but it is a template. So they have some ones that are already set here for you. What I would recommend is going through the ones that they have set and tweak them to what works for you, that has your brand voice and all of that goodness. Tweak that, okay? Tweak that. Anything that you know you're not allowed to use, delete it. Okay, delete it, because this is going to get kind of junky. A pro tip of how to not get this so junky, and especially when you're going through and setting up automation, okay? Because when you're setting up automation, simply when you're setting up your automation, you have, so we just did one for a client. And this is a system I like to use. It's called Milanote, okay? Milanote. What I like about Milanote, and I'm not going to show you guys too in depth with this, right? But this is what I like about Milanote. You can get started with it for free. I am on the paid plan. But what I like is because I'm a visual person. So I like to see things in visual ways, right? When you're going through and you're creating your sequence, if you're doing this yourself, right? So let's say you're creating an onboarding sequence. What I like doing about this is that you can go through and let's say this is onboarding sequence. You can go through and you can just create a sequence of emails. So maybe you have, okay, inquiry email, and you don't have to worry about making it pretty. You can do an inquiry email. Then maybe the next email that you might have is book a discovery call, and then maybe, maybe a follow-up email. Write it out. And you can do this on a piece of paper too, obviously. You can do this on a piece of paper. Write out your sequence, right? And I like this because you can customize the colors, you can do all of that pretty stuff inside here. But write it out, and then you can also take arrows and kind of connect stuff together if you want to. But I recommend going through and writing it out. Okay, write out your actual email sequence so you know what's going to be. And of course, you would continue the sequence, right? Because it doesn't just end in follow up. But write it out, even on a piece of paper. And then when you go through inside of HoneyBook and you create your email sequence, it does not have to be long. Taking things and streamlining your business, it doesn't have to be this long, extensive thing where you need an email sequence that's 50 steps. It doesn't have to be like that. If you go through and you have one automated email that goes out to your clients, and it keeps you from having to send out a manual email, you, my friend, are winning, okay? And you will build upon that as you go. Okay, so don't overcomplicate it. But here's a pro tip when you're doing your emails. First of all of the templates that you have now, put them inside of HoneyBook. Okay, so you can create new, and you will go down to email, and you will create a template email. If you already have one, just copy it and paste it into here. So what I like about this is because, and I'm just going to take that out. What I like about this, of course, you would name your email, which that's going to be very important when it comes to automation, and you put your subject line. What I like about this now is because HoneyBook now has these smart fields. And so even in a template, you can send out a personalized, because sometimes what people don't like about automation is they feel like, oh, I can't personalize it. I wanted to make it seem like it's from me, honey. You can make it sound like it's from you, okay? So you can say something like, maybe this is an inquiry email. You could put hello, and then here's where you find your insert smart fields. This can insert anything that you want that is going to pull from your client's information. So you have project information, so you can do project date, project time, client information, their full name, first name, last name, email address, whatever you have to send. You can also input your information if you need to. You also have company information in today's date. So let's say, for example, I am doing this and I just want to put the client's first name. I could be like, hello, name, thank you for booking a call with me. I look forward to, working with you or whatever, right? You can go through and you can put that. Or maybe it's something like where it has like project details. So maybe in your template email, your project is due to kick off on, and then you can use this here, project date. Whatever project date that you have set inside of their profile is going to pull this. And this is a template. This is personalized, right? But you can put this in an automation sequence and have that sent out to your clients. It has their name on it. Of course, you're going to put the subject line. It has their name on it, and it has their project date. But you didn't have to send out this email manually, right? That's going to save you time instead of you having to go through and like, oh no, I have to type this email and I have to put the project date. You don't have to do all of that. Now, here's a pro tip as far as with automation that's going to save you time. First of all, always name your emails. Always name your emails. Don't leave it untitled email. This is internal. This is the subject line of the email. Okay. That's the subject line that the client is going to see. This is internal. But always name this. Now, a couple of things is, let's say you only have just one service. You only have really just one main service. If this is going to be an email that is part of a sequence, so like say like with this is the onboarding sequence. This is your inquiry email, right? So maybe this is the first email in your sequence. What I recommend is doing something similar to this. You can do it any way you want, but this is going to help you when you start doing your automation. So for example, I'm going to put 01 and I'm going to put inquiry email. Okay. That next email that I'm going to do, let's go back. Our next email, let's say, is book discovery call, right? So maybe that next email that's going to be, oh, it's running slow. That next email is going to be, all right, come on. Okay, so that next email, so matter of fact, I'm just going to duplicate this one just for demo's sake. That next email, we're going to put 02. And then let's say the next email is follow-up. I'm going to show you why this is going to matter or help you, right? The next email, I didn't mean to do that. The next email is going to be like the follow-up. Because a lot of times when I go inside of clients' emails, inside of their HoneyBook accounts, the emails are everywhere. Okay, the emails are everywhere, and it makes it harder for you to know where everything is. Okay, so that's going to be 03. No, hold on, I put that in the wrong place. 03. Now you might be saying to yourself, why did I use 01, 02, 03? The reason why I put this 0 in front, because let's say, for example, you have a longer email sequence, okay? A longer email sequence for your automation. The reason why I did that, so they can continue to appear in order. Because once you get to 10, then it will move it around if I just did 1, 2, 3, 4, if I just did that, right? So 01, 02, 03, okay? That's going to be helpful to you in this next part that I'm going to show you guys really quickly. Now, I do want to tell you this one example here, and I have a question. She said, okay. So I do have one other thing. Let's say you have multiple services, right? I have multiple services. So if I'm creating different automation sequences for different service types, I want to be able to go through and make sure that when I'm connecting automation, because all the emails are here, but when I'm connecting automation, I want to be sure that I'm connecting the right email to the right automation. Side note about that too. The 01, let's say, for example, too, not to get too deep, which I feel like I'm going to be able to get too deep, but not to get too deep, hopefully. If you have something when you're setting up your automation for your business, is that if you have different automations of different parts. So what I mean, different parts of your business. So let's say, for example, this is inquiry emails. So maybe this is the inquiry sequence. I would put 01 in parentheses, inquiry, 02, inquiry, 03, inquiry. Then maybe when they go to the next phase of maybe onboarding, then you would use 01, onboarding, 02, onboarding, and things like that, right? I'm going to show you why that matters here in a second. Did I not say this part? Or why it's going to make a difference. However you want to do it, just do whatever actually works best for you. I'm just giving you like a tip of how it's going to look better. It's going to make it easier for you to be able to find exactly what you're looking for, what emails you're looking for. Because until HoneyBook actually has it where you can add in emails to different folders, because you see there's different folders that are listed here, which you can put your different files into different folders. You can create your own folders, but emails can't go into different folders, not at the time of me doing this information session with you, okay? So I'm going to just put this in here because I do want to show you really quickly what's the difference. So you're going to pull over all your emails. So all the emails that you currently have right now that you already have templates for, go ahead. And if you don't have templates, create templates for some of those, especially the common things that you know that you send out on a regular basis. Put that inside of HoneyBook, okay? So you did your settings. You filled out all that information. You have your forms, right? Your contracts. Pull those over using the concierge service that HoneyBook provides to you as a new account user. And then do your email templates, right? Put all your emails in there, okay? If you organize them from the beginning, it's going to help you out when you start doing it. I'm not sure why this wants to keep going and not saving for me. Oh, we still did it wrong. All right, boom. Okay, so you have that, and you can do the different phases. Okay, so that's gonna help you to be able to find it. I wish it wasn't running so slow. Okay, now you have your different types of. I'm just gonna click on all here. Okay. Now with this one, because I signed up with this account right here, I signed up using my own link, of course. So it automatically pulled over my HoneyBook template that I have that I give to people who sign up using my HoneyBook link. So we're really changing this template, but yeah. So it automatically has some of these things already put in here. If you're not going to use those, delete them. Don't allow your account to get crowded by a whole bunch of stuff you're not going to use. Okay. So inside of HoneyBook, I highly recommend that you go through and just use templates. They have an amazing template gallery. There are templates for your onboarding. There's templates for offboarding. There's templates for contracts. There are templates for brochures and all of that. You can filter those out through these sides here. You can also filter it out by industry if you want, like you have a particular industry and you just want to do it that way. I never do it that way, but you can do it that way, right? They have so many different templates. As you can see, there are 118 templates. Find the one that actually best match up for what it is that you're trying to do, and then redesign it that way it looks on brand to you. So you can change the colors, the pictures, you can customize all of this. This is what's called a smart file, okay? A smart file basically is different actions and pages that you can connect together to have it all into one document. So you're not having to go through and send out a brochure. So like, even before I was using HoneyBook, I was sending out things separately. Like I had to send an email for a brochure, email for them sign a contract. Then I had to go to use another system to send out an invoice. all of these things were different, and the client was getting different emails and from all different types of places. But with a smart file, all of these files are connected together, and you can connect different actions together. So underneath here, you can see that, okay, this particular file includes a services section, an invoice, contract, and pay section. So you can have all of these pieces working together for you. So like, for example, when I go through and like I do a discovery call with a client, they say, hey, yeah, it's a good fit. Let's go ahead and work together. I send them out one of these that has the contract, the invoice, and payment for them to pay the deposit. They can do all of that in just one go. And then we're set. And then our system moves them over to the basically project kickoff time, right? Inside of our project. So use these templates to work for your business. You might even have one that has a scheduler in it, and you can add anything that you want to add. So if you need one that has a scheduler in it, so like even some of the ones that we have after they do contract and pay, they also go through and they actually book a client meeting as well. So the kickoff meeting, that's also included when they go through and process all of that. The client has that 5-page document, and I can see each page that they have gone through and viewed and what they've put in there. I can see all of that information inside of the HoneyBook account, and I can send them out reminders if they haven't did it or gotten it back. Or if I send out a proposal and like I said, they haven't actually, because how many times have you guys actually gone through and sent out a proposal and you hear crickets? You hear crickets. Like you're like, okay, I sent that over, but they haven't actually paid their deposit or they haven't paid for that service. Yeah, plenty of times. With this, you can see of whether or not they did it, as well as you can set reminders to them if they haven't even opened it, right? And then what I also like about I'm just gonna let's click on this one. What I also like about this is that I'm gonna click on edit this template. What I also like about this is that you can also go out of here. I don't need all these reminders. So like this one's and you can customize all of this. And you see this one is what, 6 pages? 6 pages that you can customize all of this. Provide them with next steps. You can do all of that inside of HoneyBook. Let me see what questions that we have. Can you customize them to match your branding? Absolutely. You can customize them to match your branding. Each one of these can be changed. You can customize the theme up here in this section here, where you can customize the fonts, the colors that are inside of here. You can even upload your own font. And of course, import your own picture. So everything is fully customizable. Like you can literally make this look like an extension of your website. The next question that you have is, can you connect this to an email sequence? Absolutely. You can connect this onto an email sequence. I'm going to show you guys really quickly automation, but yeah, you can attach this onto an email sequence. So you can literally start doing a lot of this with very low touch points. Even the smart files section, which I like about it when HoneyBook start implementing smart fields, is that now you can even put those smart fields into your smart files. So like, for example, let's say this section here that you have, this is a regular message, but you can go through and you can enter a smart file in here. So I can put the person's name. So when they get this file, they're like, oh, it says, Kenniqua, you shared your big goals, even big dreams during the consultation. That's fully customized to me. So now I feel so now that whole excuse of, it ain't personal enough. There's a reason why I ain't doing automation or streamlining. You can knock that, out the window, right? Because you can fully customize this, right? And you can do this without having to go through and like, oh, let me go through and type their name. No, you use that smart field, their name is in there, okay? Are the reminders template emails that we can create? You can customize those reminder emails. Yeah, so you can go in there and you can customize the reminder emails that you get. So those emails that are in the email section, make sure that you check those emails and see what an email is attached onto that, as well as in your settings section, they have those email notifications, which a lot of times you can customize those emails as well. So those are the actual templates, right? And you can create a template for onboarding questionnaires. If you have a questionnaire, so I love using questionnaires. So like, for example, because we have to get information from clients, like their brand color, send us over your fonts, tell us more about your business. You can create a questionnaire for that. And that file is attached into their actual profile inside of HoneyBook. So now I don't have to go around and fishing around for it to see, well, what happened to that information that they emailed me? Or let me go to the Google Drive to go through and find it. I can go right inside the HoneyBook account and I can see the files that I sent out to them and I can see the responses that they gave to those particular files. Now, let's look at automation so we can start. We're going to wrap it up here in a second. So your templates, that's the other thing that you want to start creating. But again, you don't have to do it all at once because when you get in there, you're going to be like, oh man, I got to create an onboarding one. I have to create a portfolio or a brochure. I got to create an offboarding. Don't. Create the first thing that you want to send out to the client. That's it. Start off creating that. And then as you go, start creating the other things because a lot of times that's where the overwhelm comes in because then you're like, I have to create all of these things and you don't need to create them all at one time unless you just have the time to be able to do that. All right, so the next thing you have is your automation. So these are just the template automations, but I'm going to go through and just click on the create automation, okay? Now, one thing about automations. So this is the thing about automations. Automations can be triggered by certain points, okay? So it can be triggered by a lot of these things that are listed right here. So you can trigger it by projects, inquiries, files, payments, sessions. You can trigger it by a lot of different things. So that's the thing that that person does in order to be able to kickstart the automation. Now, you can also manually add someone into an automation sequence as well, but these are your triggers. This is what's going to get it going. Now, the first typical thing that people use when they're setting up automations is going to be the person submitted an inquiry form, right? So they went to your website, they went to their website, they submitted their inquiry form, they're ready to work with you. What's next, right? They put it in, they hit submit, what's going to happen next, right? Now, you can also do this by project type. So you can select, okay, for each one of these project types, this is what I want to happen when they enter this contact form. So I want to make sure that this is clear, is that if you have different project types that I talked about before on the contact form, you can deselect all project types. And maybe you just want this, that if they select coaching, let's say, for example, from this contact form, that they get this automation. Okay. So maybe you only want this to happen if they select this particular type, or maybe multiple types, right? But maybe not all. But if you don't care that they get this automation, no matter what type of project type they choose, or even if you don't have this question on your contact form, then it's irrelevant. But if you do, if you want them all to go for no matter what they select, this is what I want to happen, then that's fine. You would just select all project types. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So our trigger is the contact form. So when I hit the plus sign, it's going to ask me, okay, so what do you want that action to be? What do you want to happen next? Now, you can put delays in between stages, but in this case, we don't want a delay. We want something to actually happen and we want it to happen now. So we have our actions. So our actions are going to be send an email. So keep in mind that anything that you want to put into your automation sequence, you need to have set up prior to doing your automation. Okay, you have to set it up because that's where it's going to pull from. Okay, so let's say we do send an email, it's going to ask me, hey, what email do you want to use? These are all the emails that are actually listed in there. What email do you want to use? Meaning you got to have that email set up prior to. Now, this actually brings me to the example that I was telling you guys about before about when you know that you're going to set up an automation sequence of why it's important to name your emails, and then if you can put them in an order where they make sense. You see here at the top of how all of these emails that was already in here, they're scattered. Like, right, like if I was trying to create an email sequence, then I actually have to read them and be like, okay, which one is it that's supposed to go first? And then what email goes second? But if I know that I'm creating an email sequence, I named those emails. And you see how they appear in order. They appear in order because I put 01, 02, 03. They in order. So when I go through and I create my email sequence, now I know this is the first email I want sent. This is going to be the second email in the automation, and this is the third email in the automation. Now, I also have labeled it inquiry because this is maybe the inquiry sequence. But once they actually go through and book, because let's face it, everybody's not going to make it through the inquiry sequence. Like there's going to be people that are inquiring that are not going to be a good fit. So I also have a booking series sequence for when people actually have actually booked the service. This is what's going to happen next. They're going to get a welcome email. They're going to get a questionnaire with everything I need to know to go through and complete their project. That's going to be a different sequence as well, right? And you don't have to get that deep, but I'm just showing you the example of why numbering and naming your emails in a certain way will help you inside of HoneyBook. So it makes it easier, okay? So I'm just going to choose the first email. Now you can preview the email. So you can click on the email to preview it. So you can see the preview of what that email looks like. And then you can also edit it back in your email templates. And you can require it for approval, right? So does it need approval to send? No, we don't need approval to send this because we could just send this over. So then the next action I'm going to go through. So I'm like, okay, they got that email. So what's coming next? So maybe there was an action that was in that particular email that I need them to be able to do. So maybe that email does have, like, let's say a booking link for them to book a discovery call. There's a couple things that I can do is I can send a smart file, which is what we just talked about with the templates. I can create a task, or I can also move them stages based off of certain things. So let's say, for example, I am just going to, maybe this might be a good thing to see of whether or not, let's say we send out an email, we have them going through and book a call. Maybe I'll create a task for myself to just check to see, check for booking, check for call, right? To see if they actually did it. This is going to show up to me. Now, what I like about HoneyBook now too is that you can assign this task to a particular person. So like in our other account, like we have team members in those accounts. So it doesn't have to be me, the project owner, which is on this particular account. It can be me. But if you have other people that are on your account, like team members, you can assign it to them and have them check, and then they'll get the notification for them to go through and check, right? So you can do that. Then maybe after you check, you do something else. So maybe they booked it and maybe they booked a call. So we move them in the pipeline to actually consult or something like that. Maybe we do that. Or maybe we go through and we put in our second email. Maybe we'll do our second email in the sequence. This book the discovery call. Maybe we'll send that actual email out. However you want to go through and book this, you can, right? So those are your actions. These are the actions you have. You can move them in pipelines. So these are all your pipeline options. You can move them in the pipeline. And some of them you can even do request for approval. So request for approval means that HoneyBook is going to notify you that, hey, this action needs to be done, but we're holding it until you actually go through and approve it. And there's different scenarios for that. So like, for example, a follow-up email. A follow-up email, you might not necessarily send a follow-up email because unfortunately right now, HoneyBook doesn't know when they actually did the thing you said in your email because you could have said a number of things, right? So a follow-up email, you might want to check to see, well, did they actually do the thing that I needed them to do? And then once you verify that, then you can have that next email sent if you need to send a follow-up email. So I always recommend built-in follow-up emails into your sequences, but you might not necessarily have to use follow-up emails. But I would build out at least 3 follow-up emails in your sequence because that's the amount of touch points that we like to make, but you can put as many as you want. All right, and then of course you would name your automation name. So that will actually be put up here. You can have at this present time countless, unlimited, basically, email automations. So just be sure that you do go through and name it because you're gonna want to know which ones that you already have in place and where you need to go through and edit. Lastly, to leave you with this is to be sure that when you're going through and set up automations in your business is to test them, okay? When you embed that contact form on your website, go through and do it. Go through and actually look at it yourself and put your information in and test it. See what comes to you. So put in like another email address and look and see what comes to you, what the verbiage is coming to you, what it looks like. So you can start to see exactly what the client can see. As well as when you put in another email address, it'll also create like a client portal for you. Go in there and look around. So you know exactly what the client actually is seeing. So you know and familiarize yourself with the buttons and everything that the client sees. That way, if they run into any issues, you know exactly how to help them because you know exactly what it looks like. And you always want to test out your automation because you want to make sure that it's right, that they're not just getting out random emails. Because sometimes, we'll hear from clients that they've set up something, but the client is getting a whole bunch of different types of emails that they don't even know about. So make sure that you go through and you look at that. HoneyBook has a lot of other tools that you can use inside of here. We don't have the moment to go through and touch on each one of these, but they're pretty basic right now. Like you have your tasks. This is where it's going to show all of your task lists that you have for pretty much all the tasks, like what I just showed you in automation. It'll show up here. I personally don't use this time tracker. We use Toggle, but you can track your time inside of HoneyBook, log in your time. Like I said, we don't use that. We use something else. But you have your scheduler. This is where you can go through and create different schedules of your meetings. So let's say you have a client meeting, you can go through and you can connect your account. So like, let's say you have your Zoom. This is the demo account, of course, so it's not signed in. You have your time zone, you have your duration. You can also use this. So this is what I like about this really quickly is you can use this meeting date as a project date. What this does, if you toggle this on, this allows for you to set this as part of automation. So if you want based off of them doing this, that you can set an automation based off of that. Okay. Because they just recently within this year expanded out their automations, which is amazing. You can put instructions, your email notifications. They also have text notifications as well. So when you sign up, you should have also have the automation for them getting text messages of the reminders of meetings. You can change your availability, put in buffers. You can also customize this confirmation email as well. So if there's something, jazz it up a little bit, you can go through and you can do that as well. Okay. So I do want to spend the last 10 minutes really quickly. If you guys have questions, I like to just spend that time just to go through and answer any questions. If you have any questions, that way we can go through and we can cover the questions that you may have. So feel free to, if you want to unmute yourself, if you have a question, you can unmute yourself. And I can definitely go through and answer your question for you. Or if you want to go through and let me see. Did you guys come in here today? Again, I really hope that this does bring some clarity and really help you to be able to go through and just streamline everything that you have going on with your business. Again, don't let it get overcomplicated. If you do need any assistance, because we do specialize again in HoneyBook and in implementation, so we can help you to go through and get it done. I will put my website here, which is katiejonescs.com. We are going through and we are revamping our HoneyBook plan. So we are actually making a starter plan for our HoneyBook services that, because some of our clients don't need, people that come to us don't always need like a full setup where they're needing a whole bunch, like the one that we just did this week. It was like 3 portfolios. I mean, 3 brochures. It was a couple of automations. It was a whole deal, email sequences. It was a lot that had to be done. But most people don't do that, especially when you're first starting out. So we are creating a basic package that's going to be available on our website here soon. Matter of fact, I have it here. I have it written out. I just hadn't put it up there. So like it comes with like custom client pipeline. We do the HoneyBook setup. We set up 2 automations for you. Template creation. So you have your email templates, your smart files. We do 1 smart file for you, 2 service offerings, set up your calendar, your scheduling, create a lead form for you, a contact form. And then we also do the offboarding video for you because I believe that everybody should know what's going on in the account. So I am going to show you everything that I did, how I did it, and how you can edit yourself. So if you do need any assistance with getting it set up, just send an inquiry via my website. So it is on the katiejonescs.com website, and you can jump on a call with me so we can talk about your particular needs with getting HoneyBook. Even if it's not for us to create everything for you, what we can also do is we can do an audit of your HoneyBook account. So sometimes when we go inside of HoneyBook accounts, a lot of times what I see is people are just not using it efficiently. They're everything's kind of scattered around. It's not being used all of that effectively. So I would highly recommend that. Let me put that. I don't know why this keeps just going out to one person. But it's not being used effectively. And so we go inside of your HoneyBook account and I record a video of just showing you how you can actually maximize the use inside of your HoneyBook account. How, like, even on your forms, it's like, hey, why don't you try to do this on your form, do that, and then I give you all the tips that you can do to make your HoneyBook flow better and your client flow better using the HoneyBook tools, and you just do it yourself. You just go through and implement yourself. So if you go to our website, which is katiejonescs.com, and you go to the HoneyBook page, you can see those services. Like I said, we are revamping them, but we are still going to be having the audit. But just put an inquiry form and jump on a call, and then we can talk about it, okay? But again, I hope that information was helpful for you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and close out of this and this chat. You're welcome. You're welcome. Again, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in here. And that's it. I mean, this is it for the session. Send me an email. Again, if you have any questions, definitely feel free to send me an email and I can answer any of those questions for you. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and head on off to lunch, but I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend, okay? All right, bye-bye.